All right, let's talk about the driver. You know, that one club in the bag that can make you feel like a tour pro 1 minute and a total beginner the next. Well, today, we're going to tame that beast. We've dug through the best advice from some of the top pros out there to give you a really clear step-by-step guide to finally figuring it out. Let's dive in.
I mean, it's the biggest question in golf, isn't it? The ball is just sitting there perfectly on a tee, practically begging you to send it into orbit. So why, for so many of us, does it produce the absolute wildest shots? That feeling of frustration? That's exactly what we're going to break down and fix today.
Okay, this slide right here, this is the big secret. This is what unlocks the whole thing. All the pros are saying the same thing. You do not need a special driver swing. It's the same motion as your iron swing. The secret isn't in the swing itself. It's all about how you set up to the ball before you ever move the club.
So here's our game plan. We're going to build this from the ground up, starting with the absolute foundation, your setup. Then we'll get into how to load up power the right way. After that, we'll talk about unleashing speed, and I mean effortless speed. Then I'll give you a killer drill for consistency, and we'll wrap it all up with a whole new mindset for when you step onto the tee box.
Let's kick things off with part 1, and I can't stress this enough. Almost every problem you have with the driver, the slice, the pop-up, you name it, it starts right here, before you even take the club back. Seriously, if you get this part right, you are 80% of the way to a great drive.
So the perfect setup has 3 parts, and they're all non-negotiable. First up, ball position. It's got to be just off the inside of your lead heel. For righties, that's your left heel. Second, your body alignment. Think of your feet, hips, and shoulders as being on a set of train tracks, pointing parallel to your target. And third, and this one is a total game changer, your spine has to tilt slightly away from the target.
And this quote, man, it just perfectly captures the feeling of that spine tilt. See, with an iron, you feel like you're right on top of the ball. But with the driver, that little bit of tilt puts your head behind the ball. You're not looking down at it, you're looking at it from the side. It's like you're peeking at it. And that one little move presets your entire body to swing up on the ball. And that's the magic of it all. You don't need to try to hit up on the ball. You don't have to force it. Just by putting the ball forward and tilting your spine back, the bottom of your swing happens before you get to the ball. So the club is naturally traveling upwards when it makes contact. The setup literally does the work for you.
All right, on to part 2. Now that we've got a killer setup, we can focus on the backswing and that split second of transition at the top. This is the moment where most amateurs just leak power all over the place, while the pros are busy storing it up.
Ah, the dreaded over-the-top swing. This is, without a doubt, the #1 slice killer in amateur golf. What happens is, in a rush to generate power, you lunge at the ball from the top with your shoulders and arms, and that forces the club onto an outside-in path, cutting across the ball and putting that ugly, weak slice spin on it. Sound familiar? So here's the huge difference. The amateur mistake is to fire everything from the top, shoulders, arms, everything unwinding at once. But the pro move? It's patience. It's a feeling of letting the arms just drop, vertically, before the body starts to rotate. That one sequence is what keeps the club on that perfect, powerful inside path.
You know, a great way to feel this is to think about a discus thrower. They don't generate power out in front of themselves, right? No way. They coil way up and store all that energy behind their body before they unleash it. Your driver swing should feel just like that, a big, powerful wind-up behind you that creates all the space you need to attack the ball from the inside.
All right, part 3. We've got our setup, we've sequenced the downswing correctly, so now what? Now for the fun part, creating that incredible, effortless speed you see the pros generate. And the answer? It's probably not what you think. Just think about that for a second. It sounds completely backward, right? To swing faster, you have to relax, but it's absolutely true. You can't crack a whip if it's a stiff steel rod. You need it to be loose and flowing. Your arms in the club are the exact same way. Tension, trying to muscle the ball, that is the #1 enemy of club head speed.
So here's what that sequence for speed actually looks like. You start the downswing by just letting your arms fall. That stores a ton of power in your wrists. You want to hold that angle, that lag, until your hands get down by your back hip. And then, from there, you just let it all go. Feel the club head whip past your body. You'll know you did it right if you finish with relaxed, bent arms, not stiff, straight ones.
Okay, ready for the expert level stuff? The final burst of speed, that extra 10, 15 yards, it comes from the ground. As the pros start down, they push hard into the ground with their lead foot. This creates a sort of braking action in their hips. It's like a catapult stopping suddenly to launch the rock. That braking action from the lower body sends a huge wave of speed up the chain, through your body, your arms, and bam, right into the club head at impact.
Now this is all great in theory, but how do we actually bake it into our swing so we can trust it on the course? That brings us to part 4. We need a real, practical plan you can take to the range tomorrow.
The logic here couldn't be simpler. You wouldn't learn how to drive a car by immediately flooring it at 100 miles per hour on the highway, right? Of course not. You'd start slow, get the feel for it. Well, it's the exact same thing with your driver. Trying to swing out of your shoes before you can even control the club face, that's just a recipe for disaster. We have to earn our speed.
So here is the exact drill you need to do. It's 4 stages. You start at stage 1 with these little hip-to-hip swings. The only thing you're thinking about is feeling the club face come back to square. Once you have that, you move to stage 2, half swings. A little more speed, a little more tempo, but still all about control. Stage 3 is a full swing, but it may be 70 or 80% effort. Think smooth, not savage. And only when you've mastered that stage can you finally move to stage 4 and let the big dog eat.
And listen, here's the rule that makes this whole drill work. You have to be honest with yourself. Don't move up to the next stage until you can hit 4 out of 5 shots pure at your current stage. Don't rush it. This is how you build a swing on a solid foundation of control, not just a bunch of lucky shots.
And that brings us to our final part. We've got the mechanics, the sequence, the practice plan. Now let's put a bow on it with the right way to think about hitting your driver.
Look, it really all boils down to these 3 simple pillars. If you forget everything else, remember this. Number 1, your setup is everything. It literally dictates the path your club will swing on. Number 2, the right sequence is what creates that effortless whip-like power. And number 3, control has to come before you go chasing after speed.
So let me just leave you with this final thought, because it really captures the whole philosophy in one question. There's a huge difference between hitting the golf ball and swinging the golf club. Hitting is a tense, muscular, jerky action. It leads to nothing but trouble. Swinging is relaxed, it's sequenced, it's letting the tool do the work it was designed to do. So the question is, are you going to go out there and keep hitting at your driver, or are you finally going to let the club swing?